just want to take a minute here and I was saddened to hear the news of the passing of Fred McLeod earlier this week. I think nothing hits home harder than something unexpected when that takes place. I know a lot of great friendships in this room with him, so my heart goes out to all of you guys. I enjoyed my conversations with him, got to know him a little bit during the preseason this year, obviously working with our games and stuff. So those were always really hard, but I do know that his voice and some of the calls that he had in the sports world will live with fans for a long time. So that's a great legacy in regards to that. So just, want to make sure I had mentioned that. Obviously a big day for us here, as a team. Started off the morning. Guys are, dialed in. They're grinding through the meetings right now, getting ready to go. Working on early down stuff here today in practice. Going out in pads today, so that'll be a good day for us to get our fundamentals, worked on here this week, which obviously we need a lot of improvement on that. Pad level, hand placement, footwork, all that sort of stuff. Real important that we keep trying to emphasize that as we work through the month of September to get better, with those opportunities that we can go out in pads. I think, obviously the Chargers present a lot of problems, both on offense and defense. I think Coach Lynn has done an unbelievable job. Just building the mental toughness of that team, knowing Coach Lynn and having coached against him a long time, both at the Bills and the Jets. His background with Parcells, his background with Rex Ryan. I think you see a lot of that come through with his team. Some similarities, I would say, from some of the things that we do in that aspect too. And I think, his team is really just, they've done a great job with that aspect of it. They got great players, obviously the quarterback. We can talk about him all day. Had some tremendous battles with him, but utmost respect for him, like we mentioned the other day. But the defensive side of the ball, too, I think Gus Bradley's done a really good job with this unit, kind of in that transformation to the, Seattle-type cover 3 defense. But the pass rushers up front, 2 great guys on the edge. The linebackers fly around. They make a lot of plays. They're fast. And I think the whole key for them on defense is not give up big plays and just make you try to drive it downfield and earn it. So, it'll be a tough battle. It should, got a lot of work in front of us to get going here as we move forward. But, we're excited about the week. We're excited about the challenge. So, we're just back to work, which is great.
After the game, just about moving forward and forgetting the last one. That's a big tenet of your beliefs. Is there a key thing you recognize in a player or a team during the week of when they've actually put it behind them, or is that something you don't know until the next Sunday?
You probably don't finally know the answer till next Sunday. I would say that's probably true. And I think that really just depends whether or not you win or lose. I think, you can go either way with it and write it however you want. But it is something that I do try to take observation of, as we kind of learn about this year's team as we go forward. I will say this, I feel very confident right now that the team is in a good mental space as far as preparing for the Chargers. I think Monday was great. I think the guys really did a great job, especially coming off a long trip. It was a long flight, long trip, put a lot into that game, played a lot of snaps in that game. I think guys were tired on Monday, but they really tried to come in and focus and just, get all the corrections and move forward. So it was really good from that standpoint. A lot of guys I know worked hard yesterday on their off day, just getting ready to go by, some of the meetings that we had this morning. I know they were studying, they were in there, and they were moving forward. So, you try to gauge it the best you can from there and just keep pushing the message and go forward. So that's really what we're doing right now.
Now, what are some staples of that cover 3 defense? Why is it maybe tough on offenses when it's run?
Yeah, they do an outstanding job with it. There's a lot of little intricacies that go along with that coverage. There's some specific different nuances that they can do based on formation, based on personnel. So some of it can really be truly zone. Some of it can be zone with some man influences inside of it that are difficult to find out. But I would say, the best thing they do is they're able to play fast and inside of that defense with the personnel that they're building around it, just kind of fits their style of play. So again, I think the key with all of it obviously is the pass rush, and they've got 2 really good guys on the edge that can generate a lot of pressure on the quarterback. And those guys in the back end know that the ball is going to come out. It's going to come out pretty quick, so they can get into their space, and then they can drive and read and break, which helps them defensively a lot. So, but they do a really good job too of stopping the run. I mean, me being inside he's a problem. He's a big guy. He's a strong guy. He can anchor the middle of that defense so that when the run plays occur, everything kind of gets forced back inside to him, and he makes those plays. So, just working together really well right now. I'd say that's probably the biggest thing is just as a unit they're working really well together.
Matt Snacks tweeted out that he said the game blamed on him 100%. He got dominated. obviously it's not all him, but you talk to him and, maybe compliment him for coming out and
Yeah.
saying that type of stuff, or how does that work?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you love ownership. You love it when guys step up and they take accountability. It's always going to start with me, though. It's got to be me first, and that's where it goes. It goes with the coaching. So, but again, just that I think just is a testament to who he is as a person and a player, and he just wants to be great. And we just got to try to do everything I can to help him, and he is great. He goes out every single day and approaches his job like a professional. So. But good thing is we're on to the Chargers. We're moving forward, so we got another great opportunity today to get better, which is the biggest thing for us.
What do you see in that running back rotation now, including the run-pass threat that Eckler presents for him?
Yeah, Eckler, I mean, he was a big part of their offense last year, too, when they would put the 2 running back sets out there and really kind of put a defense in a bind from that standpoint because he is a passing game threat. I think what really, stands out to everybody that saw the game this past weekend is that he's actually an outstanding runner. He's really strong and powerful. He may not be, overly big in size, but his lower body strength is incredible, when he breaks and drives through some of those tackles. And I think they've done a great job with their run game of getting him into some of those space situations, really dividing the defense and getting him into the secondary pretty quick, which is, very dangerous from that standpoint. So dual threat from that standpoint, run and pass. You're going to see him out of the backfield a lot. You're going to see him free release. You're going to see him lined up and empty and try to take advantage of some of those situations too. So certainly dangerous from that standpoint. Jackson, 22, who's in there, is another really fast, explosive guy from that standpoint too. And I think they just complement each other. Similar run games when they're both in there from that just kind of fits the style of offense that they're running right now.
One other timeout question, if you'll indulge me, just so I understand going forward. Am I right in saying that head coaches are typically the only ones that can call timeouts on the sideline, and you guys have an exception because of like your injury, or you're not as close to the line of scrimmage, I guess?
No, I don't think really that's any of the case there at all from that standpoint.
You can call timeouts typically than anybody?
No, I mean, the timeouts go through me, so we have a process for that. I don't really think that's a story that I want to get into. I just think.
Who is allowed to call timeouts on the sideline? Like, who can ask the official for a timeout?
The head coach will ask for the official for a timeout, and then in my situation, I can designate someone to do it for me if I need to.
Who did you designate?
I'm not going to get into all that strategic stuff as far as that's concerned.
It's
It's
not
okay.
really strategic. Who's
Yeah, just we're kind of moving on to the Chargers here. I think that's a story that I'm good with right now. I'm not really sure where we're going with the whole timeout thing.
So
So
I just want to know the mechanics of it, I guess, as to why. Well, look, I mean, Kevin, no offense to Kevin, but he was obviously calling timeouts in the preseason. So I guess I'm curious why Kevin, if he still is, if he's not a coach, if that's part of the.
all that stuff. What you do is you go through the league to get approval, depending on who we want to do it during the game. If I can't physically do it, that's all.
Is there a reason why you don't have a coach as opposed to Kevin, or why that was part of the?
Yeah, just so that it's coming from my line. So it's a designated person that may not be a particular coach from that standpoint. Yep.
Matthew was under a lot of pressure in the last game. Some free rusher situations included in that. How many communication issues did you have to sort through with the film as you're moving forward?
I think there's always communication issues we sort through, after every game where we have, breakdowns in protection or coverage or whatever it is. And part of that is trying to eliminate as much of those as possible as we go forward. And certainly, like I said, we got 2 really good defensive ends this weekend too, and obviously Bosa and Ingram, and they line up in different positions. So there's a lot of communication that has to take place with those guys. They're on the same side. They're inside, they stun outside. They're outside, they stun inside. I mean, they just do a lot from that standpoint, and communication will be a big part of that as we go forward.
So you have to put I know there's only so much time we do to put an extra emphasis on the offensive line and fixing some of those issues, or is it the same piece of the pie?
Yeah, I mean, we always put a lot actually into it, just in general, because we're not really sure what we're going to see from those standpoints. And again, as I've mentioned before, I think from the offensive line, the protection standpoint, 5 guys trying to see the plays through the same set of eyes. As many reps as you can get of that as possible only helps you in the long run, because it's usually never exactly how it is during the week. They're working 2 on that side of the ball, so there's going to be some nuances there that are a little bit different, and you just have to rely on your base rules and reads to be able to react to some of that stuff and communicate it out to make sure that everybody is on the same page.
Yep. Considering last week you kind of ran at least somewhat of a rotation there on the offensive line, is that because they move around as much and they go inside and outside, does that change whether or not you run a rotation this week, or are you kind of past that at this point? You feel like you have a 5 set?
I mean, I think it just depends week to week, and right now we just feel like that was a good thing for us to do last week as we get into the first game and kind of being out in Arizona and everything like that, and we'll see how it goes this weekend.
Desmond King's a Detroit guy, obviously pretty important to their defense. Just what do you see from him in terms of what he does on that defense, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, defense and special teams. He's a phenomenal player. This guy's fast, quick, explosive. I would say the zone scheme that they utilize with him is really kind of fits his skill set very well. He does a great job of reading the quarterback. He does a great job of pattern match and jumping those routes and understanding where he's stressed and getting back to the ball. He's had some turnovers. I mean, he's pretty dynamic player inside. He's tough. He's going to be physical on those inside receivers, and he's going to get after it in the run game too, and put his the return game and the special teams on top of that. He's just a dynamic player. He's just a really good young player, and someone that has, I think, really helped their team, their defense, and their special teams, be in good positions through the course of of the games. So he's certainly a guy that's been very productive for him. Yep.
Difficult to defend Keenan Allen.
Yeah, very difficult. I mean, this guy is he's an unbelievable athlete, unbelievable wide receiver. The thing about him, I think that's unique. He's got great route running ability. His ability to cut, to release off the line of scrimmage, to really kind of move the defenders at the line, get open, get into space. His top of the route quickness, he's got some subtleties in there. His head turns, his shoulder leans, and some of the way that he skips off the line of scrimmage. He has some unorthodox releases too that are just extremely difficult to defend against. So, you have to deal with all that. And then on top of that, if you have good coverage, the quarterback has a lot of trust in him. He's going to put the ball up and really, in most cases, put it in a situation where maybe it's away from the defender's body or it's an off leverage. And obviously the quarterback's accurate enough to put there, and his hands are strong enough to make those plays. I mean, he made a phenomenal one, the other day. And really, that's one of those situations where the wide receiver kind of just throws his hand up. Quarterback sees it, puts it up, and just trust the wide receiver to make a play, which he did, even though the coverage was tight. So that's, I think, what makes those guys so difficult when you have a really good quarterback that trusts him to make those plays, and then his ability to get off the line of scrimmage at the top of the route, get open, and then come down with the catch is what makes it so tough.
Thanks, guys. Good.